So what's good, YouTube? It's Casdepro and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be showing you 5 things you need to know when sampling in FL Studio. So if you don't know what sampling is, it's simply getting another sound that's already been made, whether an MP3 or WAV file, and bringing it into your mix or your beat and trying to fit it in. So right here I have some samples we could use. I got off the internet. Yeah, we're going to be using this one. So that's the sample we're going to be using. So first things first, before you even go into the steps, you have to do this. Switch this, snap it to 1/6 step, zoom in, then trim this with the slice tool neatly. When you slice it, you use the pen tool, right click and remove that. Then you bring this in, you stretch it out again, then move it back to line, snap it back to line. And that's the first thing you need to do before even starting the 5 steps. So step 1, you need to understand what zero crossing and stretch do and how they work. So this is basically zero crossing and this is stretch. So what stretch does is it basically stretches the sample, stretches it to whatever you want. That's what it does, it stretches. Then when you move it to zero crossing, what it does, it kind of you can move it upwards and it won't stretch, and bring it downwards, and what it does is to cut the sample. So before you start working on the sample, you need to check and ensure if it's on stretch or zero crossing, whichever one you might want to use. And the next step is to fit the loop into the correct tempo. So what I'm basically going to do is select the tempo we want to use. Like for this sample now, what I would like to use is 110 BPM. So now that I've selected my BPM, I would want to stretch it to a perfect loop. So yes, it's on the correct tempo I want to use. So this is how to stretch. There are 2 ways of stretching it to the tempo you want to fit into the loop. There are 2 ways of stretching it to fit into the loop. First, you can go to the timer right here, which is always like this, and you could increase it to fit into the loop like that. And once you are done, you zoom in and pick the pen tool and simply stretch it. Oh, my mistake, it's on zero crossing. I need to switch it to stretch and simply stretch it to fit. So now it has properly fit into the loop. The loop is a proper fit. So as you can see, it played all through and looped properly without any hitches or any problem anywhere. So the next step or the next thing we're going to learn is pitch editing and resetting. So when it comes to pitch editing and resetting, you simply just double click on the sample, and when it's open, you could stretch the pitch to whatever you want, and it simply loads, and see it's now lighter. You could reduce the pitch and it becomes deeper. But if you want to set the pitch back to the original sound, or if you want to reset the pitch back to the original sound, you simply right click on pitch and reset. So what that does is after you have stretched it, it still takes it back to the original pitch. So now it sounds like how it was before, but now on tempo and properly reset. And now step 4 is what I call sample chopping and editing. So sometimes in a sample, it doesn't fit the tempo correctly. That's when the metronome is on you notice that some parts are off, but for this sample it's actually perfect. But what I mean by pitch chopping and editing, simply just zooming in and using the slice tool to slice the sample at points where you think it's late or early. You simply slice that point and move it forward or backward, and it's best to do that on a snap of 1/6 step, and zoom to the closest to do the chopping and the editing of the wave. So but for this sample it's actually perfect and all that, so I'm simply going to undo what I've just done and back to normal. So I'm going to add another sample or another loop to this. Okay, so for my sound pack, I'm going to be picking this sound, this drum loop I made by myself. So applying all the techniques I've just taught you to this sample right here. You can see it doesn't fit properly at all. So first thing, tweak the timing, and now it should sound like, but you can see it has become deeper. So resetting it back to the correct pitch. It's now on the correct pitch and on the proper loop. Now I'm going to check the end. Always zoom in and check the edges to make sure everything is cut properly. So now using the stretch tool, I'm going to stretch it down. Go to the other sample, go to the other one, zoom in and make sure it's also stretched down. Reset again, and now it should be perfect. So the final step, which is step 5 on the things you need to know on working with samples, is tracking to the mixer and is sample effects and mixing. So how to do that? You simply just track your samples to the mixer, like these 2 samples I have here. And now on the mixer, you're going to make sure it doesn't cross 0 decibels. And if you want to add reverb, you could add reverb, you could add EQ and reduce, cut the low frequencies, or whatever effect you feel works on your sample. You can simply go into the mixer and work on that. So that's all on today's video on how to work with samples. Many people have been asking me on like how I work my samples, on how I make my samples sound very okay. This is like a simple way of doing it. Although I didn't show you everything, couldn't fit everything to this video, but this is basic and it will go a long way into helping you work with your samples. So until next time, leave a like, leave a comment and subscribe. You can hit the notification bells to know when I drop something new, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.